Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, so I'm back after a day or so holiday. I wasn't even there 24 hours. Decided to pack the bags and come back home. Just complete gash. Absolutely ridiculous. To be honest with you, I'm not going into it, but me, my wife and my little lad, although my little lad was enjoying it, but for me and my wife, just not at all. So I'm not too sure why. I guess our standards are a bit higher than what was fully expected. You know, when you spend a lot of money on a holiday at the Great Lakes, you know, I kind of believed what it was on the brochure, right? Or online. Not quite true. So anyway, and in addition to all that, of course, I left my laptop at home, so I couldn't do any kind of uploads for videos. The Wi-Fi was gash. It said free Wi-Fi on the holiday, but get 1 hour free a day. I mean, how am I supposed to live with 1 hour free per day unless you've got to pay extra, which is ridiculous considering the price that we pay for the holiday. Anyway, doesn't matter. So the subject of today's video is in fact Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte is of course fresh on a exceptional performance in a wonderful fight against Joseph Parker, where he became the first person to drop Joseph Parker, as I predicted that would happen, and I also predicted that Dillian Whyte could well get dropped himself in this fight as well, and it happened. Call me Nostradamus icons, shall we say. Anyway, I got how the fight ended wrong. I did predict Dillian Whyte to win, but I said that he would stop Joseph Parker in round number 9. Nearly happened, because that was the round when he well and truly chinned Parker, but full credit to Parker, he got up. And either way, Dillian got the win. He maintains his WBC Silver Championship, the number 1 in the WBC, and of course picked up the WBO International as well. So of course now he's number 1 WBO and number 1 WBC. So the options that I gave you after I asked this question of, as Dillian Whyte wants another fight before taking on AJ in April, who would you like to see him fight next? Jarrell Miller, Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, Derek Chisora, or Dominic Breazeale? And the reasons that I gave all these, Jarrell Miller, of course, he's creating like a little bit of heat over there right now as well. He's rising the rankings pretty well. He's not part of the WBC, or at least he wasn't about a week or so ago, last time I looked at the WBC rankings, because he's not part of the WBC clean boxing program. I believe that's the reason, but he is highly ranked across all others. And of course, Jarrell Miller and Dillian Whyte is a fight that a lot of us would love to see. I think, to be quite honest, for the build-up, more than anything else, to be perfectly honest. So that was my thinking behind Jarrell Miller. The other one, Deontay Wilder, obviously WBC heavyweight champion. If Dillian wants to take him on, then undisputed between Dillian and AJ. So that's why I put him on there. Luis Ortiz, because Luis Ortiz and Dillian Whyte was nearly signed right before Dillian changed his mind and went for Joseph Parker. And the reason that he changed his mind and didn't fight Luis Ortiz was because if he had fought Ortiz, then he would have had to have waited between 18 months and 2 years to get a crack at Deontay Wilder after WBC dropped a bit of a calamity by installing Dominic Breazeale as mandatory, which is absolutely outrageous considering that Dillian Whyte is number 1 WBC and the silver champion. But that's a WBC for you, firmly in the pocket of Al Heyman. Of course, why not? So Luis Ortiz is a fight that I thought was going to happen right before it took a total left field onto Joseph Parker. So that's why I put Luis Ortiz. Derek Chisora, obviously a rematch that a lot of people would like to see. And of course Dominic Breazeale, who is the official mandatory for WBC and the number 2 ranked WBC. So that was my reasoning. Now the results are 58% of you out of just over 1.4 thousand votes, 58% of you said Deontay Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion, of course. In second place, big baby Jarrell Miller with 18%, and 14% Luis Ortiz, 6% Derek Chisora rematch, and 3%, and last place, of course, Dominic Breazeale. Now, Deontay Wilder, the overwhelming favourite for that one, of course. I'm a little surprised that Luis Ortiz and Jarrell Miller wasn't the other way around. I thought that more people might actually want to see Luis Ortiz and Dillian Whyte over Jarrell Miller. But ultimately, such is the boxing fans' wish of longing to see a huge build-up, in my opinion, between Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller. But regardless of all that, Deontay Wilder, 58%. A lot of people would like to see Dillian Whyte take on Deontay Wilder. And a lot of you guys, including myself, would pick Dillian Whyte to dispatch Deontay Wilder. If he lands that big left hook, it's good night. That's just my opinion. Deontay Wilder cannot take that punch. I'm convinced of it. Anyway, but there again, I did say about Deontay Wilder, I always said that he's a bit weak on the whiskers, and when he got chinned by Luis Ortiz, he went into survival mode and really, really impressed me with the fact that he didn't take a knee or anything like that. So he went full survival mode. So maybe Deontay Wilder might be able to take that punch or go down and get back up again. Maybe. But in my opinion, unlikely. So what's the possibilities of Deontay Wilder against Dillian Whyte? Now, we do know Eddie Hearn has, in fact, increased the offer for Wilder to take on Dillian Whyte, which was initially $5 million plus the US TV money. And now he's upped it to $8 million plus US TV money, and Dillian will go to the States. But Deontay Wilder, he has avoided Dillian Whyte at every which way possible. Originally he said, yeah, okay, fine, I'll take on Dillian Whyte, but you've got to put Joshua in the contract. Eddie Hearn was like, no, that's two separate fights. Joshua and Dillian Whyte do not like each other. Neither one of them would agree to have the other person's name in their contract. Do you want Dillian Whyte? No, I'm only going to do it if you put AJ in the contract. After a bit of and ahhing, Eddie Hearn said, okay, fine, we'll put Joshua in the contract. You can fight Joshua after Dillian Whyte if you beat Dillian Whyte. Deontay Wilder said no. So there it is. And here we go again. Eddie Hearn has put in a much improved offer for Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte. And I'm pretty convinced that Deontay Wilder is going to say no. I'm sure of it. He is petrified of Dillian Whyte. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, especially if you're a Wilder fan, will not agree with it. But that is what it is. Who in their right mind turns down all that kind of money for a so-called easy fight, right? Well, he did. And case in point as well, he's negotiating with Tyson Fury, of all people, a guy who's been out the ring for 2.5 years, had a comeback fight against Sefer Seferi after ballooning up in weight. I mean, humongous. Lost all that weight, comes back, takes on Sefer Seferi, about to take on Francisco Pianeta over in Belfast on the Carl Frampton undercard, and Deontay Wilder is interested in Tyson Fury. Well, of course he is, because now is a good time to take on Tyson Fury. But yet Tyson Fury, he turns down Tony Bellew, and yet wants to fight Deontay Wilder. Which one is more of a risk? And to be honest, he'll probably get paid more money to take on Tony Bellew as well. But anyway, I think Tyson's either pretty stupid or very confident of beating Wilder. I'm not too sure which one it is. For me personally, as much as I've jested in the past before that, Tyson Fury can come back and put a whooping on Deontay Wilder, and in some kind of past I was serious about it. That was until I seen him fight Sefer Seferi, and even though that was like a bit of a joke fight, Seferi was actually hitting Tyson, which I didn't expect. And if Sefer Seferi can hit Tyson, Deontay Wilder sure can hit Tyson Fury. But no, I suppose I have to wait and see what it's like against Pianeta. For me, I would love it. It's exactly what I've been saying ever since he's come back. Take on Sefer Seferi, then take on another guy, which happens to be now Pianeta, then move on up a bit to maybe an Ustinov, and then maybe move on again to kind of like a Dominic Brazil kind of level, and then maybe challenge Anthony Joshua. This was pretty much what I was saying. Build yourself back into it. But here he is going to take on Deontay Wilder straight away. Big props for me. I think that's him and Frank Warren sticking the finger up to Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn to say, you're not willing to travel, but we are. And again, I heard his interview today where he's saying that Anthony Joshua turned down 80 million. On what planet did he turn down 80 million? It wasn't 80 million, it was $50 million, okay? There's the first one. And he kept saying how Joshua was earning 10 million. He's not earning 10 million, he's earning 20 million per fight, pounds. Okay, so that's 2 fights and he's earned more than that $50 million. But moving on, clearly you don't want undisputed on British soil. That's not that important to you, right? That's pretty much all I can come up with. So it looks like Deontay Wilder is going to be out of the way, going to go fight. As of right now, I see Tyson Fury, and I'd love him to prove me wrong, but I see him on the level as somewhere between a bum and a journeyman, but with the ability to improve, where a journeyman and a bum don't usually kind of improve that much, but he has the ability to. So for me, he wouldn't even get past Dillian Whyte right now. And that's Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury will get knocked the hell out by Dillian Whyte. So, Deontay Wilder, that option is out the window. So next in line, Jarrell Miller. Now, Jarrell Miller, he only wants to fight in New York. He doesn't want to leave his comfort zone. That's kind of fair enough. And also, he's got a fight coming up on October the 6th in Chicago as well. So for me, that's pretty much going to rule it out as well. So after then, Luis Ortiz. Now, again, this one is going to be highly dependent on Deontay Wilder as well. Because if he may want to take on Luis Ortiz before he takes on Tyson Fury in December. Unless he's going to sit around between now and December, which seems pretty pointless as it's quite a long time away. But maybe he could, or maybe get on with Luis Ortiz. So for me, that is a good option. I like that fight. But ideally, I would like Dillian Whyte to go fight a journeyman. Just tick over, put a bit of money in the account, then go fight Anthony Joshua in April. At that point, Deontay Wilder, I don't think he's going to grow much of a backbone between now and then to take on Anthony Joshua himself, pricing himself out, thinks he's a big I am, never done anything in his damn career except fight journeyman, bums and all that kind of thing. And yes, as of right now, I would be including Tyson Fury in that. He's seizing the opportunity. But listen, if Tyson Fury does get in there with him, I'm going to be cheering on Tyson Fury all the way. But I don't hold much hope for him. There again, I did say that about Vladimir Klitschko, and how wrong was I on that one? Anyway, that is what it is. Derek Chisora rematch, quite probable. Again, we know Eddie Hearn is trying to get Deontay Wilder. What is it about Deontay Wilder? I mean, seriously. I mean, Eddie Hearn is so desperate to put on a show with Deontay Wilder. I'm starting to think, come on, man. Just let the guy rot. Let him go fight whoever he's going to fight. Derek Chisora, that's probably a fight that Wilder would be quite willing to take, to be honest. So, again, apparently he's offered him, $5 or $6 million to take on Derek Chisora next. Personally, again, I would have Deontay Wilder beating Derek Chisora. Dillian Whyte is improving all the time. Derek Chisora, no, not really. Exciting fight that he was in, and yeah, he's quite durable. But he's durable against a guy who doesn't punch as hard as Deontay Wilder in Carlos Takam. But anyway, that's a good possibility. Personally, I don't particularly want to see the rematch. That's just my opinion. My pick out of all these would be Deontay Wilder, but if not, it would actually be Dominic Breazeale. Number 1 versus number 2 for the official mandatory for the WBC. That's just my thinking, of course. But of course, you guys want Deontay Wilder. Fully understand it, but move Deontay Wilder out of the way. Jarrell Miller is your favourite. So I'm getting that out there for you all. And hopefully Dillian sees this video and maybe tries to push for a fight with big baby Jarrell Miller. Why not? I mean, for me, I'm happy with him fighting anybody on there, but as an ideal preference, Deontay Wilder. If not, go fight a journeyman. Just wait for your title shot. Just do that. Do what Wilder's been doing for his entire career. Just wait around. Just fight whoever. That's just my advice. Of course, he'll do what he's going to do. He's a fighting man. He wants to fight anybody, anywhere, no problemo. So maybe it's going to be somebody on this list. Maybe a Joseph Parker rematch. Who knows? But anyway, I'm just getting that out there for you all, just so you all know the poll results. If you have seen it or haven't seen it, drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.